Well, just possibly not quite as bad as it looks today. I mean, as you were just saying, borrowing in June was worse than expected. I mean, £3.5 billion worse, and that is, of course, on top of the savings that Rachel Reeves thought she was going to get by restricting winter fuel payments and benefits, which she won't now get. And of course, Victoria's just setting out some of the spending pressures in health, for example. But look, these monthly numbers are highly volatile. And if you look at the first 3 months of the year, you do get a slightly different picture. So you can see that here, since April, the government has borrowed £57.8 billion. Now, if I show you what the official forecasters were expecting for that period, exactly the same number, 57.8. It is still a huge amount of money, but it is not worse than expected. Now, that's not necessarily the most visually gripping graphic we've ever shown people, but the Chancellor won't care about that so long as borrowing is not running ahead of what she thought it would be.
So does that mean speculation about tax rises is going away?
No, because I think it's not driven by the monthly figures or even the £6 billion of savings that she was hoping to get. I think the big issue here is whether the official economic forecaster, the OBR, lowers its expectations about how fast our economy can grow, not just this year, but next year and the year after and so on, because slower economic growth tends to mean lower tax revenues. And city forecasters reckon that if they do change that very critical forecast, then Rachel Reeves could be looking for around about £20 billion to stick to her fiscal rules this autumn, most of that coming in higher taxes.
And yet, at the same time, there still is £38 billion to spend on the new nuclear plant at Sizewell.
Yeah, and that's because that's investment spending, which the Chancellor has been protecting. So today we've got the green light for this new nuclear reactor in Sizewell, which the government today said would be a major boost for energy security and economic growth. But I think the £38 billion figure will face scrutiny because the reality is that the nuclear industry has had a long history of problems with cost control. I just want to show you, there's a power plant, identical one, currently being built out in Hinkley Point. The budget there started at £18 billion. It's currently heading to around about £35 billion. It's also running 5 years late. And the Sizewell C project, initially the budget was thought to be £20 billion. Well, today we've heard it's probably looking like 38. And by the way, the taxpayer has taken a 45% stake in that project. So if costs do overrun, it's the taxpayer who'll be on the hook.